Instagram, and I'm trying to get on YouTube. There we go. Okay, I'm live. Hopefully it'll work this time. Okay, let me see here. There we go. Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. I was just having a glitch on YouTube. It's all set up now. Okay, so welcome back. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. I'm a mom. I'm also a grandmother. If you go to BratBusters.com, you can see my free behavior board, which is like a mini course. It's also got a toddler section on it. And what else have I got? Oh, yeah, my courses, my boot camp courses. I have one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds. You can look into coaching. There's a big wait list right now. I meant to get that over the weekend, but I must admit I kind of relaxed over the holidays a bit more. So anyway, I'm going to get to the wait list tonight and check that out. You know that if you're a past client and you want to re-sign with coaching, you get first priority. So email me. Don't go on the wait list because I often go a week or two without even looking at it. But right now I should be able to. But anyway, so what else? Oh, and look at the podcast. My daughter and I do the podcast together. She's my business partner. And you can check into that. So I got lots of free stuff, videos, lives, podcasts, and the free behavior board. The only things you pay for are the courses and the coaching. Everything else is free. So, and yeah, we're very careful about that. We like to reach as many people as possible with my message because I think it's really important. I teach leadership parenting. Leadership is all about bringing out the best in your kids and having a great relationship with them so you can just relax and enjoy. I want you to raise good kids, but that's not what I'm all about. I'm all about you enjoying parenting. How can you enjoy it if your kids are acting out? And they're not happy if they are. Okay, now let me see now. Here we go. San Francisco. Hi, Jess. So can you hear me okay on YouTube? Because I had to restart it again because the sound was glitching. And I was having problems starting this live even. So maybe it's glitching. Let me know. If there is a problem on YouTube, I'll just shut it down because I don't like it. I don't like it when you can't hear properly. Okay. Oh, and don't do continuation questions because I can't go back and find all the initial stuff. So if you're going to ask me a question, it has to be self-contained all in one comment. Loud and clear. Perfect. Thanks, Jess. I appreciate that. Okay. But thank you very much, Celeste. I've never known a Celeste before. Don't have any Celeste. I've got so many clients with such beautiful names. But I wish I could tell you what they are. I can't, obviously I can't. But one of them, I said, come on, were you really born with that? It's so beautiful. Just like, oh, it rolls off the tongue. But yeah, some people just have beautiful names. I like my name. I'm not in love with it, but I like my name. Okay, stuck with it now. I'm not going to be changing it anyway. So, okay, let me see. Did I already introduce myself? If not, who cares? Let's just get going. I don't do grandparenting questions. The reason is if I told you something that the parents don't like, right? I teach parenting, not grandparenting. Also, I don't know anything about teaching or anything either. They're a very different relationship. Like I have a very different relationship with my granddaughter than I do with my kids, right? I have a very different, and teachers have a very different relationship with kids than the parents. I only teach parenting. That's it. Okay, you are going to hate me. It's Gingery25. You're really going to hate me. I can't hold back. What do you do when you're the mother-in-law and you see bad parenting from the daughter-in-law? Like she makes everything about her son. He does no wrong. What does a grand do? Mind your own business. It's not your kid. It's not your place. I would never tell my daughter-in-law or my son-in-law or my daughter or my son how to parent unless they were beating their child. I would never, ever, ever say anything. Any advice is criticism. Would be like going up to someone who is overweight. Look, I'm just trying to help. You know, I've got a really good diet here. It's the same thing. It's passive aggressive and it's a way of insulting people. None of your business. None of your business. I'm lucky. My son and daughter-in-law are doing a fantastic job. But even if they weren't, none of my business. I'm just there to be, I'm just grandma. It's not your place. Yeah, she's probably left by now. I wouldn't blame you, but I got to say what I got to say. And then there's all this, I get mother-in-law stuff questions all the time when I'm coaching. And I say, all you can say to a mother-in-law who tries to hand out advice, which is passive-aggressive insulting, that's all it is. I always say, you just say to them, when you give me advice, it hurts my feelings. If they don't respect that, you got no hope. So Someone said, man, parenting is so hard. I think it's like anything. It comes easy to some people, it's easier. And you probably find some stuff easy. Like to me, bookkeeping, accounting, I've got an accountant, but still is stuff I have to do. It's agony for me, agony. So everyone's got things that come easier. So I wallowed in parenting. I found it easy. But that's one of the few things I ever found easy. So I struggle with a lot of stuff. We've all got different departments. That's why I'm teaching it. If I found parenting challenging and hard, I wouldn't be teaching it. There's no way. I would feel like a liar. Okay. How do we implement the behavior board? It's self-contained. It's like a mini course. It tells you exactly how to do it. So yeah, you can look on there. How does your teachings coincide with the Montessori ideology? Doesn't go hand in hand. I wouldn't have a clue. I know nothing about Montessori. I don't teach teaching. I know nothing about it. I just teach parenting. You're asking me to compare myself to other methods of dealing with children. I would never do that. No. I only teach what I know. Sorry, I got a siren going. Do kids give in? It's a good question, Lisa Roth. Oh, you're a regular here. Hi, Lisa. Do kids give any signs your leadership parenting is working? My son is 3 in February, and he's starting to follow me and listen to me instead of his dad, who isn't doing your method. Yeah, he'll just get happier and calmer. Kids who have a leader as a parent tend to calm right down, and they're happier, and they like themselves. They make good choices. You can just see it. Signs like when they come tell me everything, yeah, you're more likely to be the one. The leader is the one that kids tell everything to. Would they feel more confident with me? Yep. A leader brings out the best in kids, raises their self-esteem, raises their confidence. You're like a mentor to them as a leader. That's what I teach. It's basically mentoring your own kids. Have you ever had anyone that you really look up to, like a mentor, a coach, a teacher, someone that you really look up to? How do you treat that person? Even as an adult, someone that makes you feel great about yourself, brings out the best in you. How do you treat that person? That's all I teach here. I teach leadership. That's leadership. Oh, how to become a leader for a 2-year-old? You're just in training at that stage. You're just reacting to and using consistent corrective actions repetitively. You're just basic. You're getting the base work done right now, but your leadership doesn't really kick in till about 3.5. That's when you'll start to really see the results. But right now you're building it. You're building momentum. Okay, you're staying calm. You're not reacting to all the craziness. I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers, if I can find it. I reorganized everything and I can't find it. I do that a lot. I love organizing, but then I can't find anything. Okay, I remember once, just not that long ago, I put something I think it was a phone charger or something I was going to need, and I thought I'm going to put it here so I won't forget it. How long do you think it took me to find that thing? Oh, stupid. Okay, these are my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Number 1, child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2, set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Number 3, when you want to connect with a toddler, this is under the age of 3, you do so in their world. They're not about going to the nail salon with you. That's not connecting. They might like it, but that's not about connecting. You connect in their world. You go to the park and roll down the hill with them. They start to look at you differently. Number 4, when you want to discipline a toddler, it's similar. You discipline them in their world. They're not about words. They're about actions. They're not listening to you. They're watching you. Okay, so you use consistent corrective actions, and it takes repetition. They don't learn the first 20 times. It might take 50 to 100 times, but they will eventually learn. Oh yeah, and stop with all these mini therapy sessions discussing all their big feelings, big emotions. I know it's trendy, but it's garbage, absolute crap. I don't know, whoever came out with that. It's garbage. 2-year-old does not need a mini therapy sessions discussing all their big feelings and big emotions. Their love language is play. Have fun with them. There's nothing healthier than that with a toddler. Get on the floor and play with them in their world. There you go. There's your therapy session right there. Okay, number 5. I know that bugs the hell out of me because I don't know who's out there because I've never looked at anyone else teaching parenting ever. Never read a book on it, nothing. So anyway, I don't know who's teaching it and I don't care. But anyway, these mini therapy sessions discuss, it's just ludicrous, absolutely it's so patronizing to a toddler. Okay, number 5, stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They've got one marble and some tumbleweed floating around in there. Imagine if you've only been in the world for 2 years. In the first year, you were a potato laying on a mattress. They have no concept of reality yet. Like, they're just forming. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They're going to try a whole bunch of crazy stuff. They're just toddlers. Toddlers are not the problem. I know they can be physically draining, yes, but it's your expectations of them that's the issue. You tend to say, well, he knows he shouldn't do that. And I'm like, what's your point? A toddler's understanding of right from wrong does not stop them from doing the wrong thing and doing the right thing. They understand it pretty darn well. It's the lack of impulse control. That is the problem. Because they'll go like, you'll say, now, you know, you shouldn't bite your little brother. You know, I know, mommy. Say you're sorry. I'm sorry. And don't do it again. I won't, mommy. And then they turn around and bite them. And you go, what the heck's wrong with him? I say, he's 2. That's what's wrong with him. He's 2. He's just learning. Your expectations are here. Lower them. Lower the bar. And with teenagers, raise the bar. People tend to overestimate toddlers and underestimate teenagers. You're not giving your teenagers enough credit. Anyway, they're my specialty. It's my favorite age. It's another whole thing. Okay. Prince George. Hi, Katie. Yes, I did have a wonderful holiday. But I just did a TikTok in my personal channel, and I talked about how much I hate holidays. I don't like occasions, birthdays, Christmas. It's okay, but it disrupts all my routines and my structure. I love routines and structure. And I like to choose when I'm going to have fun. You know, like, it's all this forced, oh, let's have tons and tons of fun. You know, like a whole 2 weeks of insanity. And then afterwards, I like consistency rather than this up and down, up and down. So yeah, I've always been like this, though. It's not because I'm an old coot. I've always been like this. It was great. I enjoyed it. I've got my kids. I got a great family. I'm very lucky. I enjoyed it. But yeah, I'd rather not have holidays. And I work for myself, so I do have the freedom to make my own schedule. But still, I have to move around the holidays. I hate it when things are closed. Okay, what do you do about the kids that don't care about electronics for the 24-hour media blackout? That's on the behavior board, but there's other options on there. You take something that they like away for 24 hours. There's always something. If you can't find something, you have to invent leverage. So yeah, there's always something. There's other stuff. Just take something else away. There's the parents asking this. So with the kids on the behavior board, there's a rule and a consequence for every member of the family 3 years old and over, including the parents. The consequence for the kids, there's always 2 of them. The first one is a positive action. You get them to do a chore or something. If they won't do that, then you resort to the negative deprivation. My example is always 24 hours media blackout, because most families use screens. So, but if you don't, like lots of my clients don't have any screens. So it depends on parts of the world they're in, or maybe religious beliefs. So a lot of them don't have screens. We find other stuff to take away. Okay, this one is a good one, and not for the reason you're not going to like this. Erica Roberts, 5-year-old gets a kindness award at school, but has a bad attitude at home. That says to me that your 5-year-old knows how to be good, but it doesn't respect you. So you got to work on your leadership skills. Remember, we're never fixing kids here. We're fixing and teaching parents. You lead, they will follow. You're a leader, they'll be nice. It's just the way it is. So it's a tell. It means you're not a leader. You got to work on your leadership skills. That's all I teach here. Check out the free behavior board, or look at the course, the boot camp course from 3 to 12-year-olds. I'm sorry about if you're on that wait list for coaching. Sorry about that. I'm hoping to check it out tonight. It's just been so busy. It's frustrating me because I know it's there, but I've been ignoring it because I haven't had a chance to get to it. So anyway, I'll look at it tonight, hopefully. Okay, what to do for 22-month-old who is overstimulated by everything and is up 2 to 4 hours in the middle of the night? Oh, that would be, that actually is well, I don't know. They're up for 2, I don't know. I'd have to ask a lot of questions with that. Like, what's your bedtime routine? Do they get too much to drink before bed and they have to get up and go pee and then they're wired and ready to go? You know, do they have too long of a nap during the day? I don't know. I'd have to ask too many questions around that one. Oh, do the rules still apply to ADHD kids? That's where I learned all this stuff. I didn't learn most of this with my own kids. It's all the hundreds of other kids I worked with, and they were alphabet kids. I always called them alphabet kids. ADHD, ODD, WXYZ, you know, they're alphabet kids. That's where I learned all this. Everyone learns through consequences. We all do. Think about it. If you knew you'd never get a speeding ticket, but you shouldn't speed, would you speed more? You know what I'm saying? We all learn through, it's the consequence that we have to face if we did get caught speeding. That's why we pay our taxes. We don't want to go to jail. Our whole adult life is run by consequences. Okay? That's what makes us do the right thing. It's just the way it is. So kids are no different. So I got a mess here. I don't know why, but things are askew. I've got this, this is how nuts I am. I've got this little coaster on here. I can't handle it if it's askew. Like that would drive me insane. It was askew. You should see my desk. Everything's all lined up. I'm not OCD. I'm borderline, but I'm not. Okay. The consistent corrective action for anything with toddlers is you remove the fun from them or the fun from them. No, remove the fun from them or them from the fun. So, and if they're not doing anything fun, you just say no, and then you go in their room and put a favorite toy away, even if they weren't playing with it. So yeah, it's, 4-year-old. Oh, sorry. Oh no, wait, that was toddler. Sorry. Oh no, that was toddler. A toddler to me is under the age of 3. Sorry, and then I saw the next question and thought it was the same one. Examples of consequences for a 4-year-old with no screen time. It can be take a favorite toy away, put your Lego away. If you read books to him tonight, read 2 instead of 4. So don't take away reading. You don't take away love. Don't take away reading, but to him at night in bedtime. But you can maybe say, well, we're going to read 4 books tonight, but because you did that, now we're just going to read 1. That's only if he really likes it. So yeah, I don't want to get into that too much. That's because I don't know your home life. Like everyone's different. Yeah, we usually find something that hurts. Like that's the second consequence. You got to take something away that they care about. I thought this was hilarious. One mom said that she said, is this a good consequence for me? If she yelled at the kids, she couldn't have a glass of wine after dinner. And I said, yeah, that might hurt you, but the whole point is your consequences for the kids. Like, you know, they're not going to care if you have a glass of wine or not. That struck me as funny. So I said, no, your consequences like play with the kids, play hide and seek for 10 minutes or something. I thought that was really cute. The kids don't care if you have a glass of wine after dinner. So that's not for them. Like, okay, I yelled at you, no wine for me tonight. And the kids are like, what does that do for me? Okay, in my view, a toddler is under the age of 3. Okay, a toddler to me is 16 to 35 months. 15 months and under to me is a baby. But, you know, it's kind of a gray area in there. But the 35 to 36 months, I really have a strong cutoff. That's 3-year-olds, they're able to stop and think before they act. Maybe a month or 2 before, by 3, they can all learn to stop and think before they act. It's the ability to reason. That's that frontal lobe thing or whatever they call it. I always think of that as that punching bag, the frontal lobe. I've seen it, actually, a picture of it. It's nothing like that. Like that thing in the back of your throat, that punching bag. I always figure frontal lobe is just hanging there. It's not, doesn't look like that. But anyway, that's when that's sort of starting to develop. They can think before they act. So that's just the way I've made it up. Like here it goes for me. A baby is up to 15 months. A toddler is up to 35 months. A preschooler is 3 and 4 years old. A school age is 5 to 8. A tween or a preteen is 9 to 12, and a 13 and up is teenagers. That's how I break it up. Now, I don't know who else is doing it, how, I don't care. That's just my own. I've got like 50 plus years of experience with kids, and this is just my own breakdown. It's just the way I work. Oops. I've got to move over to TikTok now if you want to join me over there. I'm also on YouTube the whole time, and I will look at the YouTube questions while I'm transferring over. Anyway, my name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach, a mom, and a grandmother. If you want to look on my website, which is BratBusters.com, be careful with that and be checking on a link above. I've got a big following these days, And there's a lot of imposters out there taking your money and not delivering a darn thing. Nothing I can do about it. They're just out there. So be careful. It's BratBusters.com. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I've got courses, a podcast, free behavior board, and coaching if you're interested. So anyway, thanks so much. I'm hopping over to TikTok now. Bye now. This is the most buttons I've got to push in the whole live. Is moving from Instagram to TikTok. Come on, come on. Make sure I'm on the right channel. Because I have a personal TikTok too. It's really boring. It's just old lady fitness stuff. And sometimes I start my live on there by mistake and people will come in and say, what are you talking about? Has nothing to do with parenting over there. Okay. Yeah, none of my personal stuff's online. I'm very careful. Like I don't even post nothing. Everyone who knows me, I've asked them not to post anything on any social media with my name on it, personal. Because there are some creeps out there when you get a big following. So yeah, I stay out of social media now. I've learned. Anyway, okay, so YouTube, let me see. Okay, this is from Daniela. Okay, you went too far with this, Daniela. This is a typical parent. What they do is they get frustrated, then they go overboard. You said, my almost 3-year-old doesn't clean up toys. Almost 3, okay. Even when I ask him to, well, of course not. If he doesn't want to, he's not going to. Yesterday it happened. I grabbed his hand and forced him to pick them up. His hand just went limp, not sure what to do. Yeah, you just went nutso, right? You know that. So anyway, if he's almost 3, you can probably start the behavior board and have a chore chart. And it can be something like this. You can just say this even. You can say your rule is pick up 10 toys within 10 minutes of being asked to do so and count them out within 10 minutes. Keep it calm, quiet, okay, so now we're going to do this. Your rule is, remember the behavior board, check out the behavior board. It's completely free at BratBusters.com. And you say to him, okay, so remember your rule is pick up 10 toys within 10 minutes of being asked to do so, or 15 within 15, whatever, and then count them out. And then all you're doing, don't say another word. You're just timing, but you're counting if he's actually putting toys away. 1, 2, 3, and you're looking at the watch. Oh, you got 1 more minute. So anyway, do it that way, start that way, and you're starting to exercise your leadership skills. That behavior board is a teaching tool. It's just teaching you how to calm down and put down some rules and boundaries and start following through. We only do 1 per week. You pick 1 battle per week because that's all you can handle initially, right? I would never use a behavior board and I deal with everything in day 1. But I invented all this. I'm level 10 with this. I've been doing it for 50 plus years. So when you're learning, you just pick 1 battle per week. It's very important. Parents often say when they hire me, I want to address everything. I say, we'll get there, but you can't start with everything. You start with 1 thing. What about all the other stuff? We'll get there. We're teaching you how to do this. The kids will follow along eventually, but I'm teaching you how to calm down and be a leader, get organized, be consistent, say what you mean what you say. Just be careful what you say. You got to mean it. You got to follow through with what you say. So it's not so much that you just have to follow through with everything. It's more about be careful what you say. Okay. This is the Tidy Nest, new listener. Welcome, the Tidy Nest. What are some consequence ideas for an 8-year-old button pusher boy? Taking things away doesn't really change his behavior. He's always been so frustrating to be around. Okay, so he's a button pusher. So that means you must have a lot of buttons to be pushed because he wouldn't be doing that at 8 years old unless you were really manipulated very easily. It must drive you nuts. So he knows it. He knows it. So anyway, I might recommend the course to you, the boot camp course. You might want to check that out because it's sort of next level. You can try the behavior board. It's completely free, but the boot camp course has the behavior boards in the first 3 weeks. It's 5 weeks long. It has the 3 behavior boards in the first 3 weeks. And that's where that free behavior board instruction course ends, is that 3 weeks. But you might want to go a little bit further. If he's 8 years old and he's that much of a button pusher, you might need the course. Or you can just try the free behavior board if you want. Okay. Starting your program tonight. Excellent, Julia. Thank you for your videos. My kids are 5, 3. So you got the 3 to 12-year-old course, right? I'm assuming. I'm the one who plays. This is Dana. I'm the one who plays, spends time, takes care of her. Is it just because she's a toddler or am I doing something? Oh, there was a previous question. 18-month fights. Oh, she's only 18 months old. Yeah, they're not going to learn anything at this point. You're learning how to control yourself. That's more what it's about. Okay, so just follow through with what needs to be done. I'll give you an example of this. My kids started doing the crocodile roll. Like in Australia, we call it the crocodile roll when you're trying to change a diaper and they start rolling. That's where I raised my kids in Australia. Anyway, but they didn't do it for very long with me, because when they started that, I said, I'm changing your nappy. It's called a nappy over there. I put my arm across their chest and just got that nappy on fast. Okay. Their dad, on the other hand, would negotiate. And how about if I get you a toy? So they were more likely to do it with him. So I'd get a cup of tea and lean in the doorway and watch the show. So they're starting to learn, but just follow through. If it's something that needs to be done, okay, time for bed, get them in bed. Okay, we're going in the car, get them in the car. Okay. So pick your battles. Only pick it. Like when you have the energy, don't say you're going to get in the car until you have the energy to fight them to get them in the car. See what I'm saying? Plan it out, plan the battle, but just win it. And you're always calm. You're never saying anything. It's just all calm. Okay, time to get in the car. No. And they run away. I wouldn't say another word. It's all action at that point. Yeah, just pick them up, put them in the car. They're going to be kicking and screaming. Just stay calm, at least on the outside. And then, when they do that, they turn into a board. Actually, they flex that way, like on top of the car seat, because they won't want to get into it. You just hold their hip area where they fold. Just put your hand there and just wait them out. You got to win the battle. Wait them out. As soon as they take a breath and they weaken, fold them down, clip them in. Okay? I don't let anyone in my lives. I only did it once. It was a total disaster, about 2 years ago. I won't go into it. You've probably heard that before anyway, if you're a regular. That was the time. I think it was my biggest live I ever did. I had 26,000 people in one live. My daughter and I figured someone really big had shared the live while it was happening, because I've never had 26,000 people on a live before. It was just on TikTok, 26,000 people. And I let someone in on my live. I was brand new at it. Didn't know how to get rid of them. Oh, I just sweat just thinking about it, because I'm here to serve you. Like, I'm just here to serve you. And someone else was trying to mess with my audience. I hated it. The number of your viewers hit an all-time high in 30 days. Did it? Oh, that's from TikTok. I'm like, what? Oh, it's funny. Sorry, I was reading. I thought, who's TikTok? Anyway, it's funny. Okay, never mind. Okay, I don't really want to get into this, but I will anyway, because I know lots of people are curious. What do you do if you've got a 4- and 5-year-old that has no screen time? You take a toy and you didn't finish it, or I don't see it anyway. So in other words, they don't care about it. You invent leverage, and it's the last ditch. It's the last thing we do. That's why I don't like to talk about it on a live, because it's not the first thing you do. It's not even the second thing you do. But if you've got no leverage, like they don't care if you take something away. You invent something, and it goes something like this. Let's say they've been rotten all day, and you say, I'll tell you what. We were going to surprise you tonight and go to the arcade, but we didn't have a very good day today. Remember, you did that. And this is how I talk, calm. And you did that. So we're not going to go to the arcade tonight. Okay, maybe another time. If we're good tomorrow, no, we'll maybe surprise you another time. We're not promising anything. It's not, you don't owe them that. Don't get them to demand that after that. That's a really bad trap to fall into. So what you just did was you ripped out something that wasn't even there. We were going to treat you tonight, but now we're not going to go. You were never going to go. They don't need to know that. You might go in a week or two, maybe. But if they keep asking, say, if you keep asking, we'll never go, because then that's not a treat. You're just demanding it. So, yeah, you don't owe them that. Just because you were going to go, you don't owe them that arcade visit. Get that clear. Because if they take that attitude that now you owe it to them because you were going to go, don't let that happen. You're right. I went overboard. I was frustrated. Yeah, Danielle, everyone does that once in a while. So what? Just laugh it off. Say, yeah, I lost it. I lost my marbles for a minute. I got them back. I'm picking them up, putting them back in. Everyone does that. No big deal. We're not aiming for perfection here. That's stupid. There's no such thing as perfection. There's just, let's get a few things right? There was a really funny Roseanne comment from the original Roseanne show, which was freaking brilliant, the original one. It was just brilliant. Anyway, she said, someone was saying about kids, well, how do you know how to parent? What do you do? And she goes, look, we're all going to mess our kids up. It's just to the extent that we do it. And that's true. You can have 10 kids, raise them all exactly the same, and you're still going to mess one up in some way. Like the odds are, but it's not that you do anything wrong necessarily. You just didn't meet that particular kid's absolute needs. So yeah, you're never going to get it perfect. That's not what this is all about. Because life is messy. People are messy. Parenting's messy. Kids are messy. Life's messy. Accept that. But what I do recommend you do, and this is what I was really good at. If I messed up, I was accountable. I was in trouble with my kids. So let's say I promised I was going to do something. Okay, I promised tonight I'm going to make muffins. Sure enough, I'd forget because I hate cooking. But anyway, then they'd say the next day, Mom, remember last night you said you were going to make muffins? And I said, oh, right, I forgot. And they said, are you going to do it tonight? And I could see my son. He was always the talker. He was the older one. Are you going to do it tonight? And I knew what he was doing. He was trying to lead me into a promise. And I said, yes, I promise I'll do them tonight. I promise. And he'd go, okay, and walk away quietly. Sure enough, the next morning, I remember this one time, he was about 8, my daughter was 3, and they come into the kitchen together the next morning. Mom, remember last night you said, I promise I'll make muffins tonight. And then he said, I don't see no muffins. And I'm like, oh, shoot, what do you want? And he'd say, we discussed, and here's my daughter beside him, loving it, letting him do all the talking. He said, we decided we'd like to go to the water slide park after school today. So I'd say, fine, I'll bring your suits. So you can be accountable and I said, life is messy. It's not about perfection, but if you mess up, be accountable, make it up to the kids, make amends. That's why you're on that behavior board. If you're not, you're a dictator. You're not a leader. Leaders are accountable because you're showing that leaders lead by example. You're showing them what to do. You're not just saying it. That's crap. Don't ever smoke and drink and do drugs and then you're doing it. Lead by example. Treat them as you want them to treat you. So I was accountable for sure. I was always the one in trouble. They never were. My daughter said, because we do a podcast together, she goes, oh, we loved it when you messed up because we knew we were going to get something. It was usually an experience. We go to the arcade or something. I've been wanting to ask, how do you feel about Elf on the Shelf? I love all that fantasy fun stuff. I'll tell you a funny story. My daughter, she knew she couldn't get anything past me, but she worked on her dad this one day. They were out somewhere together, just her and him. And she came home and he was laughing. She was laughing. She goes, I got Daddy. I fooled him. And I said, what happened? And he goes, he was laughing. He could barely get it out. And he said, she asked me, no, we're talking about the tooth fairy. And she said, is the tooth fairy real? And he said, yes, it's real. And she said, Mom told me the tooth fairy isn't real. And he said, okay, you're right. It's just all a big lie. I didn't tell her that at all. She completely trapped him. So anyway, then we were all laughing at this. And I was kind of disappointed because I thought she was really little. She was like 4 or something, 4 or 5, I don't know. Anyway, and then I said to her, so do you still believe in Santa? And she says, well, of course, he's real. So she only doubted the tooth fairy. The Easter Bunny, Santa, they were still very real. But yeah, he messed up the tooth fairy. I like all that stuff. To this day, I still have not admitted to my kids that there's no Santa. They'll never get that out of me. And they're 35 and 30. I've just never admitted that there's no Santa. I like all that stuff. It's fantasy. It's fun. Do you coach for kids with autism? I coach parents and I coach relationships. So yeah, of course I do. Well, it's ridiculous to say people might not. But yeah, I've worked with a lot of kids with autism, but I don't discuss autism here. That's only in coaching. So I work on your relationship with your child and where they are, where they are on the spectrum. But basically, I need to know quite a bit of history with autistic kids, like what works, what doesn't. So we throw mud at the wall and see what works. But yeah, that's just coaching. It doesn't matter what anyone has. Like what I mean is there's all sorts of challenges. I specialize in teen crisis work. I am focused on the parent-child relationship or the parent-teen relationship. That is always my focus. When it comes to children with challenges like autism or that, they need other stuff going on, like special ed or whatever. But I teach the parent-child relationship. So it doesn't matter what's going on with the kids or even the parents. It's the relationship I work on. Did you take parenting classes? No, I've got 50 years of experience working with kids. I was going to be a child psychologist at one point, and they kicked me out because they said I asked too many questions, and the other students started asking me. I always just understood kids. I started volunteering in daycare centers when I was 11 years old, and the daycare workers used to ask me, how do you do that? Because they'd always give me the difficult kids to deal with. And they said, how do you do that? They respect you, but they want to be with you. You're fun. So I always kind of had this in me. So yeah, and I've worked all sorts of schools, hospitals. I got clearance from the government to go into homes, all volunteer work. And I never expected that to pay off in any way, shape, or form. It was just my love of kids that I did that for. And then when I was working with the delinquent teenagers, they said to me, Lisa, you got to teach this stuff. And they said, you know, people need to learn what you do, because they said no one's ever talked to us like you do. So, but anyway, that's how I did it. I've never read a book on kids or parenting ever. I would just find it annoying, I'm sure. So it's all kids taught me all this. I'm kid taught. Teenagers. I would say my biggest teachers in my life were probably teenagers, the troubled teenagers, because they're going to tell you what they're thinking, for one thing. They don't hold back. They got no filter. And it taught me I have more patience than I ever thought possible. So yeah. I do have a lot of patience with parenting stuff. It just comes easy to me. And I know the reward at the end of it. Like, I understand, I can connect it all. But I'm really bad with a whole bunch of other stuff. What is it? Oh, inanimate objects. I have a really weird thing. If I go to put on socks or something, and you know how you just miss and you go to fall over, I find stuff like that incredibly annoying. I could throw a sock across the room, and I don't really have a temper, but stuff like that, I call it, or a missed pickup. I hate that when you missed grab, I call it. You go to grab something and you miss it a couple times. That kind of stuff drives me nuts. Isn't that weird? It drives me nuts. A missed grab, can't pick something up. I hate stuff like that. I don't. Or else a zipper, I have a problem with jacket zippers. I'm like a toddler. I can't do up my own zipper. I could just throw the jacket across the room. So yeah, patience. Yeah, with kids and people. Yeah, not with inanimate objects. So yeah, don't try and make sense of that. I've actually had friends who've had to do up my zippers on a jacket. And I stand there like this. I'm not drooling or anything, but I'm just like a moron. I look like, you know, like they're my caregiver. Like, I'll try it once or twice and then I get really annoyed. I don't have any problem zippers right now, but I've had jackets where the zippers just don't go. I don't know what's wrong with me. Don't think about it. Okay. Okay, good question, Julia. Very good question. With this on YouTube. With the behavior board, do we invent consequences for bad behavior that isn't on the board? When you're in the first 3 weeks of that behavior board, you only are focused on those behavior board patterns. That's it. The other stuff, do whatever you were doing wrong before. It doesn't matter. All you're doing is those behavior boards are teaching tools, and it's teaching you how to focus and how to just focus on that one rule in week 1. Now you got 2 rules, and then by week 2, 3 rules by week 3. That's all you're working on. It would be like taking flying lessons and you learn 1 dial per week. Yeah, but when do we fly the plane? What do we do with all the other dials? You haven't learned them yet. So just focus on those and don't apply those consequences to anything not on the board. Just do whatever you were doing before. And when you got older kids, say, we'll figure that out before. We'll deal with that another time, or we'll figure that out. Just do whatever you're doing before. So I don't have a great way of explaining that. I wish I had one sentence that I could explain all that. But yeah, we're just dealing with what's on the board, and that's it. Because whenever people hire me for coaching, most people have watched me long enough that they don't ask me many questions about what's going on with coaching anymore. But sometimes someone will slip through that hasn't been watching me for a while, and they say, what about all the other stuff? How do we deal with that? And I say, we'll get there, but we're going to teach you how to do this first. And then by session 4, then we address everything, but not till session 4. So we go through 3 whole weeks of just doing 1, 2, 3 different behaviors. We discuss a whole bunch of stuff in there, mostly around the parent's mindset. We're changing your personality with your kids. It is hard to do, but once you get it, easy. Maintaining this is easy. Getting leadership, getting respect is hard work. You got to earn this. But once you get it, and you like, I can see when parents just click. I can just see it. They'll start bragging about everything they're doing well, and I'm sitting back going, "Yeah, good for you." I can almost cry. I get so emotionally wrapped up in my coaching. Love coaching. My daughter and I often talk, should I just quit coaching because I don't need to do it anymore? And takes up most of my time is taken up by coaching. I freaking love it. I just love it. I love seeing parents crying in the first session or 2, and then by session 3 and 4, you can just see the difference. So yeah, extremely rewarding. Okay. So yeah, everyone can learn how to do this. It's a method. It's a system. It's proven over decades that this stuff does work, but you got to put in the work. You got to realize that we're not fixing kids here. They are reacting to your parenting. That's all this is. I've worked with hundreds of kids, toddlers, kids, tweens, teenagers. They're my favorite age, teenagers. I've worked with them all, managed to get respect with all of them. Did I just get them all in a good day over 50 plus years? No, I'm a good leader. I know how to do this. Anyone can learn this. Okay, I doubt my parenting methods around my parents because they did it differently. How to become, okay. You're not your parents. You can pick and choose what you like. I don't think my parents were tough enough on me. They were older parents. I wish they had been tougher, to be honest, I do. Yeah, but I didn't end up being spoiled because my dad died when I was young. I mean, my childhood ended like that. So, but if he had lived, I probably would have been spoiled rotten. Yeah, he doted on me too much. I got away with too much. So I didn't parent exact, but my mom was a leader. My mom didn't show disappointment as much as she should have, but when she did, I couldn't handle it. I idolized my mom. My dad was like, he spoiled me and I adored my dad, but my mom was the leader. And yeah, so I wasn't parented the same way I parented. There was a lot of similarities, no yelling. Neither my parents didn't yell. I didn't yell. So that's similar. And they were really good listeners. I always felt really validated and heard. So that I felt very loved and validated. And so that I took over. But the rest of it was very different. So you're not your parents. You pick and choose what you like, and then maybe adjust stuff you don't like. If you like what I'm saying, then follow me. You'll eventually learn. Some parents never hire me, but some parents have watched me. I've been watching you for 2 years, and I finally decided to pull the plug and hire you. And I'm like, wow, 2 years. It'd be agony for me to watch me. But anyway, so yeah, you can still learn a lot just by watching these videos or listen to the podcast. You'll start to get the mindset. The mindset is you are the leader. They will respect a leader. It's a natural instinct for anybody to respect a leader, even adults to respect a leader. But I teach how to get respect with your own kids. Anyone can learn this. Can I use the behavior board with my 19-month-old? Absolutely not. They have to be 3. That's when there's a real turning point at around 3. It's actually maybe a month or 2 younger. They can start to learn, but 3 is a cut. 3 is when they can all learn how to stop and think before they act. They can all learn how to control their impulses. Doesn't mean they will right away, but it means they can start to learn how to do that. Do you have any advice for pathological demand avoidance? That's PDA for a 2-year-old. No, I don't. I don't really recognize stuff like that, like ODD or PDA. I don't really recognize it. In other words, I just treat them the same as any other kid. Kids on the autism spectrum, that's only something that I deal with in coaching. It's more of a specialty, so I only discuss autism during coaching. You'd have to hire me one-on-one for coaching. Oh, do you ever touch on strong-willed children? That's pretty much all I work with. So yeah. Yep, absolutely. No one ever hires me because their kids are too easygoing. So it's mostly strong-willed kids. Anyway, I got to get going. Thanks so much for joining me, or welcome and welcome back. So I don't know who's a regular. I see a lot of familiar names all the time, but I also see some names I don't think I've ever seen before. So welcome. If I resonate with you, that's great. If not, move on. You're never going to like me. If you didn't like what you saw so far, move on. Find someone that you're actually going to follow through. I would rather you not just listen to me if you're not going to follow through with stuff. Might take a while, but you know what I mean? If I'm not resonating with you, move on to someone else. Also, if you're going to take parenting advice from someone, I think they have to have these 2 criteria. They have to have finished the job with their own kids. How on earth can you teach parenting if you haven't finished the job? Have you lived with teenagers? Plus, did you find parenting easy or difficult? If you found it difficult, you shouldn't be teaching it. I found it a breeze. I knew how to handle kids. Anyone who's struggling with their own kids should not be teaching parenting. It's just, no, it doesn't make any sense. They got to have finished the job, found parenting easy. Also, they have to have worked with hundreds of other kids, because you're not gonna learn everything just from your own kids. I didn't learn much with my own kids. It was mostly other kids working with. So that's 3 things. So make sure that you check out someone's credentials. They have to have a huge wealth of experience. It's all experience based. The podcast is called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms. My daughter and I do it together. The reason I'm not doing regularly scheduled lives anymore is because the podcast has taken off. So we're putting our energy into that now. I'm still doing pop-up lives, but the regularly scheduled ones are just becoming too much. So because we're doing 2 podcasts a week now, we'll probably end up increasing that. The podcast has just surprised us. We didn't expect it to do this. But yeah, it's doing really well. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast, and my daughter and I do it together. She's my business partner. So anyway, I have to get going. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out BratBusters.com for more, and happy parenting. Bye now.